So this is about online education. So you must have seen either your children or grandchildren actually doing some study work in school. What is how they are studying. I share with you some photographs, maybe just for some fun. And one of the photographs is from one of my colleagues in the session today. So I just share with you some photographs, and let's understand them. So online education. So we all of us assume कि some हम मेरे यहाँ भी बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं. We all assume that students are learning. They are really involved in the academic activities. Tell you, but reality में क्या होता है? So what's happening in reality? See, this is one of my colleagues over in this session, Yogesh. His son is this. He's enjoying his game in whilst the online session is on. Yogesh, your son.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then here is another friend of mine whose son is actually really sincere about it. But I'm told that he's actually, he keeps looking out of the window. So that's what he does. But we have taken a good photo about him. And here is another person. He is really enjoying his studies. I mean, this is 8:15 in the morning. Incidentally, he's my son. Look at him. Where is the mobile? Where is he? You know, and what is he doing? So he's like, this is online education in reality, and something seems amiss. Something is. So you see these children, then you realize something is going wrong. Considering the fact that most of the schools have actually put in lots of money in this money and effort, both in time and space. They've invested over here. Teachers have actually made considerable level of inputs, into this online education. Just think about it. Some few months back, online education was just a pipe dream. It would never have happened. But suddenly it's a big reality. Imagine the culture shock even the teachers would have gone through. So they're really taking the pains to teach. Hey, look at the students over here. And then I'll ask you a simple question over here. So I would probably appreciate if you could answer some of them, or you could actually type in the chat box. So imagine you are a student. Just close your eyes. Imagine you're a student, and what are you thinking right now? And you're going through this online class. What are you thinking? So maybe you could write in your chat box. I just want you to just write what's coming in your mind. That will be important for you to understand. What are you? So what are you thinking? What's in your mind when you are going through an online session? Chat नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है. Okay. Okay, so this is why can't I go to school? Why I miss my friends, just time pass. When will this finish? Do I really have to do this? Face to face is better. Do I have to do this? Curious. Imagine this is what is going on in your head. Think about it. What are you feeling? Just write a few points. What are you feeling in terms of feelings? How feelings? Some of you wrote boring, lonely, feeling lonely, confused, missing school badly. Okay. Now, my daughter says boring. Okay, enjoying. Some of you really enjoying. Okay, stuck. Now, think about it. Imagining that you're still a student. What are you saying to people, like to your parents, to yourself? What are you saying? And just you could share something more. Backache. Okay, reassuring. I like that. Reassuring. Neck pain. It's a waste of time. And what are you doing? when you're a student, imagine you are a student. What are you doing? Yes, I like that, Anurag. Real school. Okay, let me enjoy this. I have to study now. Great. So now, if you were a student, you're actually understanding what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're saying, what are you doing. Now, these are some wonderful brackets in which you are thinking, and you segregated your perspectives over here. Now, just imagine this. If you were an educator and you are seeing all these three of them, these three students that you're seeing them, do you think your approach to teaching will change?
Yes.
Yeah, it should. Yes, yes, yeah, absolutely. Now, this is exactly where, absolutely true. So you start becoming more and more innovative also. You start knowing the tricks, yeah? So this is where design thinking starts taking shape, okay? As a teacher, I understand as a teacher, the teacher would have really put in a lot of efforts, timely coming in, preparing the schedule, saying what they have to say. But here are the students, in spite of what I'm doing, what I'm sharing, what I'm talking about, and what I'm teaching, the students are just not paying attention. Not all the students are paying attention. I mean, she has been so far under the impression everybody would have been doing this because she is not seeing any one of them. And now when she actually sees them, oh my God, these students are not even studying. See, they seem to be in a very fairly relaxed mode. You start actually wondering, how do I get over this? And this is where design thinking comes in. And this is where the human aspect of problem solving comes in. Let's understand what design thinking is. So this is design thinking. So, Tim Brown is the CEO of IDEO. IDEO is one of those famous design thinking institutes over there. They have an office. They have a school in Stanford, and that's the Stanford School of Design. And Stanford and Tim Brown, they have all formed this design thinking module. It talks about 5 steps. It's 5 phases: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Remember when we had these problem solving techniques, what is the kind of steps we used to follow? We used to actually say, let's, first identify the problem, then analyze the problem, develop the problem, implement whatever you have identified, and, evaluate them. But here, it's almost on the same line. However, there is one particular element that is coming in very strongly, and that's the empathize factor. So here you got empathize, you got define, you got ideate, you got prototype, and you got testing. So this is the 5 steps in design thinking. Stanford has 9 steps. Another step is they have got 9 steps, but we leave it at that. We just think these are the 5 critical steps in design thinking process. Now, design thinking, what Tim Brown says is, design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from a designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements of business. Now, if I convert this from an educator's perspective, from a teacher's perspective, it could be like this. Design thinking is a student-centered approach to innovate that draws from the teacher's toolkit, to integrate the needs of the students, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for instead of business success or an academic success. So you could actually translate that. So you say design thinking is a student-centered approach to innovation that draws from the teacher's toolkit to integrate the needs of students, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements of academic success. So design thinking is all about a human-centered approach, taking the human being, that is the people or the students or the various personas that are involved over here in this. Any question you have over here, then we can move to the next.
छोले निकाल लेंगे दाल रात के लिए मैंने बुला रखी है
नहीं दाल तो दूंगा भर के था.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi Deepak.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming over. So,
Yeah, thanks again for the invite.
pleasure. Okay, so now let's do one simple thing, and I think this is we're not touching the business per se. What happens in organizations? Let's do a very simple, simple thing. This is called the empathy map. You know, so imagine you are having a dinner at a quality restaurant. Now we'll try to relate this how it fits into the business operation. So you could now be understanding when you're going to the restaurant, maybe a decently quality restaurant. When you're going, what are you saying to yourself, to your team, to people around you? What are you thinking? Thinking about anything. I mean, that time, how are you engaging yourself in your thought process? Doing. So what are you doing? Some of you would be actually talking. Some of you could be actually fiddling with the tools that are over there, you know, moving around. So what are you feeling? Once you start getting information about all these four brackets, the information that you get, this is called the empathy map. Now, empathy map is just one of the 20 odd tools that are there in the design thinking. I'm just sharing with you one particular tool. This is called the empathy map. Um, this empathy map, once you have done this, you have understood what the empathy map is. What are people saying, thinking, doing, feeling? Think about it. And then think that you are a restaurateur. You own this quality restaurant. You have seen your investments very high over there. You have got a space, which is this whole restaurant that you're seeing. The space is huge, some 4,000 square feet of a hotel space, restaurant space. You got manpower, some 30, 40 people manpower over there employed over here. And you are beginning to realize that the average monthly customers who keep coming into the store is falling dramatically. Can you find some of the innovative answers when you have done this? This will be probably one of the questions that you will need to ask yourself. When you do an exercise, sorry, when you do an exercise like what we did for the students, the students and the teachers, you could sense actually that the teachers could do some innovative activities after having seen the students. Over here also, as a restaurateur, you can see some of the amazing things you can do as a restaurateur by finding what are the gaps, what are the things that emerged from this particular restaurant, from these particular inputs. In fact, this particular restaurant is one of my clients with whom I've just done an empathy map, and I have tried to understand diners who come to the restaurants, what are they thinking, saying, doing, feeling right now. And this, when we did that, it gave us wonderful ideas on how as a restaurateur you could engage the diners who come in, what you could do that they can make them, that particular Kano model where you could actually start servicing that could exceed their expectations. So deliver certain things that could exceed the expectations. So some of these things the answers you will get when you do the empathy map. And this particular client is actually gaining in some they have actually prototyped some of the kinds of instruments, some activities which is engaging the diners who have come into this store. And over here, one of the things that become very important is empathy factor. Be it the restaurants, be it education, or be it in your business operations, anywhere. When one is adopting the design thinking aspect, empathy becomes very important. See, empathy in terms of dictionary definition, it's all about getting into somebody's shoes and then understanding from their perspective. how actually empathy is all about connecting at a very deep personal level. The more, the more you connect at a deep personal level, the more empathetic you will become. And then that's the stage where you will start understanding customers, start understanding the users. And here, when you're doing this, when you're empathetic, there are two questions that become very violent, very vital. The first is, what is the actual problem we are trying to solve? Remember only one thing. Most of the questions we always think we know the problem. You know, this is the problem. But is it actually the problem? You need to reimagine it. You have to reimagine the situation and find out whether that's actually the problem. And when you find the actual problem, you will see something very dramatically different, you know, in terms of what you're visualizing about the situation. And the second aspect, which becomes very important, whom are you trying to do it with? Means you need to have some persona, the target group, the persona of the target group. Who are these people? Which is the category of people? For example, which is the category of people who comes to the restaurant? Which is the category of people who are the students who are, you know, in attending the class? So you need to have a persona developed around them. Okay, these are the kinds of people. Define the students. So in design thinking, the core is empathy. You remember the first step, empathize. Okay, so I'll just take a minute or so. Is everyone clear, or do you have anything to talk about? Want to share, or can I move ahead? So what I do is I move ahead with this. So this is the design thinking. You can apply it in many places. For example, organizations. And this is, it's a design strategy. Obviously, design strategy jaisa wo nahi hai. It's all design thinking plus corporate strategy. I share with you an example over here. So when you use design thinking for corporate strategy, you actually have design strategy. So how do organizations become very creative? The second thing could be actually for startups. How could you think like a designer? How could you think from a customer's perspective? Designer. So what are the kinds of innovative designs that you can have for customers? Even in technology, for example, in artificial intelligence, people are actually using design thinking to find out how you can use this artificial intelligence to make lives better for human beings, human beings, and also for people in general. I mean, communities, lives of people, for the communities who are there, the poor, the underprivileged communities. How can you make their lives better? So this has amazing applications, crisscross across the horizon. You choose, you take it across the functions, across people, across organizations, everywhere it finds application. And I can share with you how organizations have benefited over here when they have adopted the design thinking. And not the least, not to say the least, you can actually employ design thinking in your personal life also. Remember, um, in design thinking, we remember we said the first point was empathize. However, when you apply it to your personal life, you have to add one more factor before empathize. You need to say, I really have a problem I need to overcome, which means accepting it. Accept can be another logo instead of the five, which we remember we saw the five over here. I'll just share with you. Remember, we shared with you this 5 steps: empathize, define, ideate, uh, prototype, and test. Just before empathize, you need to accept it. When you want to apply this in your personal life, you can need to accept there is a challenge that you have. So where else can you apply? You can type in a chat box. Now that you know where I've shared with you some of the examples where you could apply it, where could you apply this in in your space? Do you have any answers you could share? Start. I like the one Puneet said. Start. live streaming your kitchen to reassure the safety and hygiene. That's wonderful. Yeah. Besides empathy, is there any aspect? Relationships. Yeah. Drive productivity. Yeah. So you can apply in sales, you can apply in HR, you can apply in technology, in schools, organizational processes. You name it and you have it everywhere. Driving effectiveness in business. Yeah. In personal life also. Just name it. I mean, just you, if you have the concept ready, some of the tools that are ready, just apply it. You will actually find. The good thing is it doesn't take much time, probably a week or so. You can have a good hang of what needs to be done. You can develop a prototype and do it. Until unless it's actually a product that needs to be developed to some level. New product development, yeah. Great. Thank you. So this is, I'm going to share with you an example in a school. There is a school called Riverside School in Ahmedabad. They have used design thinking in their school. So you remember I was talking to you about design strategy, where I said it is a design thinking plus corporate strategy, and they formed what is called design strategy. Here, there's a school called the Riverside, which is quite famous over here in Ahmedabad. They have adopted what is called they have adopted design thinking, and they have integrated it into their philosophy. And they said, you know, why human? Remember, see the first point, empathy. That's the first point they have put in. And even the logo, if you can see in the sheet, so they have done it like that. So can you also explore possible design strategy for your startup or your organization or your workspace? Can you have a design strategy put in place? That's something to ponder about for you. You could, for example, even in your workspace, you are the head of organization, you are the head of function. Can you look at exploring the possibility of integrating design thinking into the process? For example, you are in sales, you can have a sales design sales process put in place. If you are in operations, then you can have a design operations put in place. So all these possibilities are coming in when you start integrating design thinking into the functions that you do. And obviously, you need to have some triggers for design thinking. What could be some of the triggers? The very simple triggers could be, you know, you feel a sense of stagnancy happening in the system. You know, your business operations seems stuck. Stuck means it's plateauing. It's not just moving up. It's just like stuck. I'm not getting. I'm not able to break through it. So that's a time when you that can be a very interesting trigger. And also about the lack of clarity. You also seem to have. You could have exhausted all your options before you, and when you have exhausted all your operations, the sense of stagnancy is coming in. You really don't know what could be the way forward for you. So that is one thing. You could also explore gravity of challenges. The fact that, you know, for example, you have products and services which are actually uh, you know, very important product portfolio. The product portfolio is there, but the product portfolio doesn't seem to be working the way it should be working. It should be giving in, even in terms of people capability. I mean, there's a level to which the people deliver. Can I do something that actually enhances the productivity? That could be a very interesting trigger. Even organizational perception. How do people perceive your products and services that are over there? Market responses. How is market responding to your products? Um, Customer recall. If you want to enhance the customer recall, you want to make the perception about your products interesting, good. This could be some of the triggers that you can have for your design thinking. And approach. I mean, this is simple. By this time, you would have been able to compare, you know, what's design thinking approach plus the traditional approach that we normally have. So it's very simple. The first thing that you also know, it's in design thinking now, it's more people centered. In traditional approach, we were more problem centered, you know. Design thinking is not, you know, like in traditional approach, we used to follow a linear path. It's identify a problem, analyze, develop, and go all the way. is to be like a one-way traffic. Here in design thinking, it's not like that. You know, you just keep coming up and going down. You know, so move back and forth just to find the right fit. You do that. In traditional approach, it was more about efficiency, more about effectiveness. You know, here it's about the whole new thing. You're actually in design thinking. You're talking about a whole gamut of new products and services that you can actually offer to the customers, to the people in general. So that's where it fits in, and that's how the approach is compared. Hmm. Now, just summing up on a particular slide in what design thinking is. Now, this is a research study. I've given you the source of the research. It's saying that, you know, organizations which have adopted design thinking over a period of 10 years have seemed to have performed dramatically well. And they have actually analyzed it and they have shared a figure which I'm sharing with you. However, what it is trying to say is that design thinking is impactful, it is creating an impact, and it is worth going for it. That's the message that's coming out from this particular survey that has been done. So here it is. What I'm going to do is I'll leave it over here for, I wanted to share with you certain things and I'll share with you. I'll probably leave this open for 15 minutes and we're right on time. So it's 4:35. So another 15 minutes. Let's have an open session. Anything if you want to talk, share, discuss, maybe I'm there. You could discuss what business challenges, you know, or anything, and we are in a position to talk. If I'm not able to in a position to respond right now, I should be in a position to do it offline and share with you.
Deepak, which are the Indian companies which are known for their design thinking?
I have honestly that scale I have not don't have it right now. But however, in India, Accenture, Coca-Cola is doing it, Accenture is doing it, Wipro is doing it. That's the three I know for a fact. Others I'm not much aware. Because however, Accenture is you know, it's just a branch from from another country. And Coca-Cola is also a follow-up over here. So three as I know over here. Wipro also does it. Other than this,
If shareholder value and return is indicated, then Wipro is performing very poorly. And how come a design thinking company is not really doing well compared to an Infosys or a TCS if they are really into design thinking?
This you know this particular survey is about the performance of a business in over a span of 10 years. The study has been done over a span of 10 years and has seen the stock performance of 10 years. What I feel is that I don't have an answer right. I do not. I can answer something, but I think I'll probably open up Pandora's box right now. So I'll probably park it over here and leave it at that. Probably I'll get back to you on Nagarajan on this. I have some answer on this, but I don't think it's very definite.
Hi, Deepak. Prasenjit this side.
Hi, Prasenjit.
Can I?
Yeah, Prasenjit.
Yeah. So just one small query from my side.
Yeah.
You have been practicing design thinking in the Indian business environment. How do you handle the mindsets of the senior and the middle management people who are in the whirlwinds of the daily routines?
Excellent, yeah, Prasenjit. See, there is a, you know, I do understand most of the and you know, entrepreneurs, they have certain level of bias. You know, they have you know, a collaborative approach. They may not have it. You know, they would have a bias towards their product. They have probably they are not very exposed to you know, having a human centered approach. They won't be having that, and it's a struggle sometimes to tell people that you know, this is missing in this. this particular mindset needs to change. However, we need to reframe it. It's not about telling directly what Suppose, for example, one of my clients whom I'm talking to is a restaurateur. He's not a very well educated, but he has a big space. However, I didn't say that I'm doing a design thinking process for you. What I'm saying is I positioned it in a very different way. I used the simple sentence. I asked him a simple question. What would you do that could make people come back to the restaurant and also pass referrals to the other people to come to this restaurant? Now remember, just by reframing the situation, what I have done, I started making him think. I started making him overcome certain level of bias that he would have had, some mindset challenges that he would have had. Now, then he starts opening up. Okay, so what can we do? What can we talk? What can we look at? So, and then he starts saying, and this way, slowly and steadily start putting in, okay, somewhere down the line, we need to understand our customers better. So how can we understand customers? Let's go human-centered approach. We'll do it. So I go human-centered, I do something, I watch the clients, I sit in the restaurant in the evening hours, in the afternoon hours, watch the customers, interact with customers. So they don't have a problem. Is when you put it in a positive, reframed manner that actually suits them, it's with them, they'll accept it.
Deepak, can I just add something?
Yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
Sure. Just to the question that you were answering to, I think design thinking is an opportunity to just stop and just reframe and rethink of how you're doing things. Because what tends to happen is like the person who just asked the question said, right? That you're constantly in the rut, you're constantly running on this treadmill, that you tend to oversee whether what products and services I'm offering, is that really addressing the customer's needs? So design thinking, offers an opportunity to just press the pause button and just look around to see, is it really making a difference to the customer? And how can I make it better?
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, you put it very nicely. Thank you so much. So PD, does it take care of the question? Your Ozam?
Finish it. At the outset, let me thank you for a very, very interesting session.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you properly. Puneet, can you come back again?
I said at the onset, let me thank you on design thinking. It's a very contemporary context, and it is a concept which is accepted by some of the US multinationals. It is yet to catch up in India, but I think as a concept, and it's very promising, and I see it much beyond the corporate world. The entire gamut of our government functioning, the public policy, how government deals with citizens as consumers, can involve a lot of design thinking concepts and have a lot of good.
Yeah, Puneet. Actually, this has been applied somewhere in Africa also. What I have read in the reports. So they have applied this. UN has applied it over here. Incidentally, Puneet is from has a public from क्या कहते हैं Puneet? From the public life. Yeah, thank you for that sharing your perspective.
My areas of interest have been governance and public policy. I've worked primarily with government and government programs.
Yeah, done. Thank you so much, Puneet. Anybody else? I would love that.
Deepak, how old is this concept?
Achha, Arvind. See, Arvind, this concept is there for last 45 years.
45 years?
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing. This is just the fact that people solve problems. Over the last, in the 80s, it just came about. People started integrating it. So I think it started getting active in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah. And I think it was just given a name. The name was coined much later, but the practice, I think of
in 98, no, Michelle? Somewhere in 98.
Yeah, I think the practice of design thinking was always there, but IDEO, which is the organization, coined the name design thinking and made it more formal.
Yeah, that was late in the 90s. However,
Yeah.
it's around for last 50 odd years.
The concept has been there, yes.
Deepak, I have a suggestion to make. Is it possible for us to have a separate session to discuss a case study to understand the practicality of this concept, design thinking?
Absolutely.
So,
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about it. Yeah, sure.
okay.
So, couple of more questions, then we can probably go in for.
I think Puneet has a question. Besides empathy, is there any other aspect which makes design thinking different from other problem solving tools?
Puneet, can you just just say it again?
I was only curious, Deepak. Besides empathy, empathy is a differentiating factor which makes design thinking very people centric rather than, product or process centric. But is there any other factor that differentiates design thinking from other problem solving tools?
Yeah, I mean, I shared with you this particular thing, yeah, about the design thinking getting, and traditional approach. See, technically, at a very holistic level, this is just a problem-solving tool. The only difference that comes in over here, just take it like this, is that we start design thinking integrates a people factor into it. Once you start integrating people factor into it, it the design thinking at a very holistic level, it's just a problem-solving approach. Design thinking just integrates the human aspect. Now you can have a linear approach or keep coming, like I was mentioning, the 5 steps. You can keep coming back and forth on those 5 steps. But however, it's just at a holistic level. It's just a problem-solving approach.
Can I also add,
Can I
Deepak?
also add something here?
Yeah.
Deepak?
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, I think one very interesting trigger that you have given today, and
Yeah.
design thinking is something which a lot of corporates are looking at.
Mhm.
Though, the term as such, as was mentioned by Michelle and by you, got coined little later, but, something like this has been on for a long time. But
Yeah.
what I strongly feel is that design thinking is not just looking at solving that a particular problem, it is looking at it in its entirety. And
Yeah.
that is what the difference is. So when you say
Absolutely.
innovate, a typical problem solving would be more in terms of corrective action or making things more efficient. But when we look at design thinking, I think, and that's my guess, it is more in terms of, looking at it in its entirety and coming out with something more innovative, which could be a little different from what you would have thought in the normal course in a linear fashion.
Right.
So actually that's the typical, it's like a system thinking approach, that there are a lot of other factors that are involved, responsible for a particular challenge. So you need to see it in entire. Thank you for that suggestion, that statement. That's really
Can I just
makes
add,
sense.
Deepak, here?
Yeah.
Okay, so also to answer that question, all problem solving techniques focus on solving the problem. I think what design thinking really differentiates is it helps you identify what problem that needs to be solved. Are we solving for the right problem? So design thinking focuses more on the problem to be solved rather than the solution. The solution will follow if you follow the process.
Absolutely.
But the reason DT is different is because it focuses on the right problem that needs to be solved.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So,
Anytime.
all right then. Please share some use cases. Okay. There has been some examples that okay, some use cases. I think we can talk about. There are things that we have seen a case where MRI scanners. You remember the MRI scanners are there, and MRI scanners may you send the person inside, and it can be very claustrophobic. But remember only one thing: there have been cases where when we doctors had to send for MRI of children, for children's MRI to be done, and children would revolt. Children would never go into an MRI scanner so easily. People used to sedate them, and send them to the MRI scanner. There is an organization that has developed a MRI scanner, which is actually like a jungle book. Michelle, what is it about? It's like a
Yeah, so it's actually a pirate theme.
pirate theme. Yeah,
Yeah,
pirate
so
theme.
what,
And
right.
that pirate theme, that particular MRI scanner, the pirate theme, they had a room full of pirate themes put in, the wall paintings, the floors, everything was like, even the scanner was designed in such a way that you could actually feel the piracy. The children loved it. They could easily now go in. Most of the children actually could go and get themselves MRI, and they could come out. The revolt of the children actually fell down. So that was one of the great applications. Even I feel there is an application in lot of other applications are there which we
Yeah.
could share. Any examples in HR process? You can use the design thinking in recruitment. The best I am told that it is used in recruitment is that most of the hotels use it. Suppose they want to understand if the person is customer service or not, what they do is they normally inform all the stakeholders in the restaurant that this particular person is going to come in, and when he comes in, they create some kind of hurdles, and they want to see the response of the particular candidate to the situation. And if he is naturally inclined towards customer service, he would actually help the where the problem is. Suppose they would actually drop a coin, or they would drop something, or the doorkeeper would somebody would come and haggle with the security guard. So these situations they would create, and they would watch the particular candidate coming in, how he's responding to the situation, how he's dealing with the particular situation. Does he let it go by and he walks ahead, or does he deal with the situation? So design thinking is done like that, to watch how people are doing it.
But I want to share an example of design thinking in HR.
Yeah.
If you remember, while you were in Disney, we had hired somebody for training, and she was basically advising Taj group of hotels for training, and the way Taj is training people in room service. The people who are basically coming to join room service are basically from very poor background, probably not gone to school, right? Failed in school, but they need to meet the expectations of somebody who's staying in a 5-star hotel. How do you really train them after you recruited them? They used to really send them as basically a customer in a 5-star hotel, put them up in the room and get serviced by room service, and so that they can experience what goes in the mind of a customer in a 5-star hotel, so that when they actually deliver service, they basically know, saying that okay, these are the expectations that we need to really meet. And for somebody who is getting paid 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees salary to stay in a 5-star hotel as the guest of the hotel,
it would be a different experience.
I mean, that's basically probably design thinking and training housekeeping people, I suppose.
Tata is known to do all some kind of innovative approach in their customer service. And actually, come to think of it, it got reflected in the 2007 case. The customer service came out very strong. And the people towards the situation response also came out very strong. So that was the kind of impact that happened. I don't know if it was exactly design thinking or not, but the fact was the employees were very customer service oriented, and they followed the empathy factor very strongly.
Yeah, if I can also give an example in HR, Deepak. if at all, let's say you want to implement a new HR system, whether it's Oracle, SAP, or anything, it's about first trying to empathize to understand what problem are we trying to address by bringing in a new HRMS system, for example. Is that really going to ease the whole recruitment or the experience for the candidate when they're applying for a position?
Okay.
When people are in the organization, let's say if they're doing their performance review, is that an easy system for people to go and do their performance review? So if you apply design thinking concepts in any of the HR aspects, before you implement a solution, DT will help you try to see, is that solution that you're thinking of, is that really going to address the pain points that our employees have? So to answer the question around HR processes, it can be applied in any HR process to understand what's the employee pain point and how do we solve for it then.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle, for your contribution. And okay, then, so I'll come to the last. So we'll keep it over here. We're now in the flag end, so it's about to be 5. And thanks, everybody. And this is the last. So at a whole, so in just terms of knowledge, I thought I'd share with you. There is a certificate level interventions that are there. There's specialist level interventions which are over there, and there's a practitioner level intervention which is over there. And they all, they all. One of the things that we do is we also act as a coach to people who take up these courses, and then we for 45 days, and we help them actually implement use the tools, apply the tools, bring in the changes. Right up to the end, we work with them. So that's the kind of thing we do over here. So this is what I thought I'd share with you today. And so in terms of design thinking, I must thank all of you that you made it for this particular program. And I just want to have a small poll before you all leave. Okay, so I'm just launching a small poll. Take 30 odd seconds. Can you actually answer them? So, so this is how the response is. So perfectly. So it's actually a design, human-centered problem-solving tool. You can actually use the design thinking in your workspace. One of you have said no. We accept everything. And can design thinking be applied in personal life? Yes, absolutely true. So that's how the application is. So thank you all. Thank you very much for coming over, being a part of this particular program, and contributing so nicely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deepak.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you,
Bye
Deepak.
bye.
Very good session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thanks, Deepak. Thanks a lot.
Looking forward to the next session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepak. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Deepak. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Hi, Prashant. Hi, Michelle. You hold on.
Hi. Yeah.
Puneet, Alina. Okay, first thing, thank you all for coming over. Prashant, Michelle, Ankur bhi aaya tha. I think Ankur left.
Okay, but very good session. Deepak, you might want to stop recording.
Take a minute. Just hold on.